All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Black Dogs Sports Podcast. Our host, AJ, won't be joining us tonight, so it'll just be myself, Derrick, and Coach Viv breaking down the NFL draft. We're going to be joined later by a friend of mine, Stephen M. Smith, and another friend of mine, Mike Patton. Stephen M. Smith is of Touchdown Alabama, so, we're bringing the enemy over to discuss the draft a little bit for a quick little segment. But tonight, what we're going to do is our draft special. It won't be nothing too heavy, but we're kind of just going to break down the Bulldogs that got drafted, some of the undrafted guys, maybe discuss if Mullen deserved a little more credit. This just kind of prove how terrible Moorhead was. And then we'll kind of do an around the SEC segment, some just to add about talking about some of the SEC guys that got drafted. And then we'll kind of finish kind of talking about what Bulldogs potentially get drafted next year and maybe some of the hijinks from the draft. So I'll kick it to our senior member. I'm trying to remember who is the senior member right now. Is it Kendrick or Derrick right now? Kendrick. I kick it to Derrick.
Wait a minute, man. Am I really older than you, Kendrick? I can't remember.
We not already had this discussion. When's your birthday?
Are you sure? July 24th, 1980.
Wait a minute. No.
You are older. Start talking.
See, last time I said my birthday was in January, you was like, I'm the older one. But now.
So you're 40 now?
I am already 40.
We won't blame it on your internet. Probably couldn't understand you.
No, I would say we're gonna kick it to which one of them got the best Greek, but I don't want to start a war. So I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. So we'll just kick it to Coach Bill first.
What's up, everybody? Coach Bills is in the building. That's right. We're gonna kick this thing off, man. I'm excited as usual to talk Mississippi State sports, and I only have one thing to say, and that's go Chiefs.
Well, I'm glad that you said go Chiefs because I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. I'm one of the happiest Bulldogs in the land right now, and you're gonna find out why.
Now that we said that, I'm gonna give a shout out to my big brother who's been had a Chiefs starter jacket back in middle school. He's 2 years older than me, so that was a long time ago. Yeah, he had a Chiefs starter jacket, so he's been a Chiefs fan.
I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, he was a big Chiefs fan.
All right, so
and Jeremiah, Mike Patton is on. So
yeah, well, I guess I wanted them to come for the next segment, but we can go ahead and make it work. So Mike, you there with us, man? Just let the fans know how you doing.
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, like some years, man. What's going on? I thought it'd be a good segment to add some of my guys. I know y'all bring the analysis, man. So I thought it'd be a good podcast to kind of throw some new people into the mix. All right, so man, just tell the Bulldog fans how you feeling.
Man, just how I'm feeling about the draft, anything, whatever.
Yeah. So another one of my friends, former co-host of The Shop with Jay Short and Steven, I guess it's M. Smith now. So Steven, just tell everybody how you doing, man. He has a successful podcast over there at Alabama. He has Touchdown Alabama magazine. Just tell the fans how you feeling, man. This isn't live, so I don't think too many people are going to be throwing anything at you for being from Alabama.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
He's still not safe.
I don't think they were. They got like 5-6 national championships now in the last 10 years.
No.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Jay Short. I hadn't announced myself, but let's go ahead and just jump into it, man. I'm sure guys are busy. Let's just talk about some of the Bulldog draftees. We had 5 guys get drafted this past over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Willie Gay got taken by the Chiefs, Derrick's Chiefs. Cam Dancer got taken by the Vikings. Tyree Phillips got taken by, the Ravens. Tommy Stevens, surprisingly, got taken by the Saints. I'm still kind of wondering about that one. And then Brian Cole got taken by the Vikings, the same as Cam Dancer. So let's kind of just break down some of these guys. Let's kind of just go player by player. I mean, we might not be able to go everybody for every player, but let's talk about Willie Gay first. Obviously, we know like some of the issues he dealt with his last year at Mississippi State. But his talent was too good for people to kind of pass up on. So, like, he got drafted in the second round. He probably was a first round, in my opinion, maybe even a top 10, top 15 talent. But he got taken in the second round possibly because of character concerns and really He really had not much body of work considering he only played in 5 games this past year. And he only had started 5 or 6 games in his career. But, obviously his talent, again, it was too much for Andy Reid to ignore. So first, I'm just going to go to Kendrick, man. Let's talk about, like, Willie Gay and, like, what he's going to be able to do at the pro level.
First, let me say this. Let me start by saying I am a homer. I've been knowing Willie since he was in the 8th grade. And he hasn't changed a bit. So I can see him all the time. He's like, "What's up, coach?" and everything. We have a conversation and all of that. So the character thing, I think that's just more of, taking some. He's been in bad situations. Period.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the cheating goes, I mean, show me a program that's not cheating on tests, and and I'll show you a program that doesn't have football. Because so he just got caught along with a whole bunch of more kids. So we just gonna say he has character issues. It's crazy. All right. But then the Kentucky game, first game back, adrenaline rush. You take your helmet off. Okay, that's dumb. All right, we get that. But then the second one, if anybody watched that game, knew it was crazy. It was like, dude, really, he shouldn't have got thrown out of that game. But his character shouldn't be in question. Like they said on the draft, they called and talked about this kid. Man, nothing but high praise for him. Anybody that's ever been around him has nothing but high praise for him. That aside, nope, this is the Black Dawgs podcast. He punched somebody for a reason, people. If anybody don't know, he punched him for a reason. Rock'em sock'em robots. So if you're going to talk, and every program has fights, Willie just knew how to fight better than Schrader, period. All right, anyway. High caliber talent. Like you said, first round talent. He's the fastest guy on the field sometimes at linebacker. So that's a positive. He plays physical, plays downhill. The Chiefs got a winner. And I read something with Andy Reid or somebody wrote or said that was saying they're expecting him to get on the field next year as a starter potentially. They say they already have some pieces. I haven't done my research on Kansas City. Derrick might know more about that. But we're looking at him to get on the field right away. Like I say, I'm a homer. That's my guy. I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm ready to get my jersey, number 50. We ready to ride.
All right, so we're going to get Derrick's perspective. Then we're going to come to the other guys. Derrick, from a Chiefs fan's perspective, how quickly do you think Willie Gay gets on the field?
Immediately. Linebacker is a position of need for my Chiefs. Yes, we are the defending Super Bowl champions, but our defense was lacking in stopping the run. He's going to bring something to our defense: speed, athleticism, an angry tackler, something that we need in Kansas City. He's going to be an immediate contributor. He's also going to be looked at to rush the passer. He runs a 4.40. So you take advantage of that speed to put pressure on the 40. To also talk about something that I saw Andy Reid say about Willie Gay is that when they talk with Willie Gay, he took ownership of the mistakes that he made at Mississippi State with the tutoring situation and the fight with the quarterback. He didn't blame anybody. He took it upon him to say it was my fault, my bad. I'm gonna learn from it. And if that doesn't let you know that you have a young man who's humble and who can admit that he's made a mistake, I don't know what more it is to say. Go Willie Gay, go my Chiefs.
That man trying to catch that check.
Now, I will say this. My thing is I'm more about action, not about words. So, my thing is hopefully, the course of his NFL career, he doesn't make any of those mistakes again. We all make mistakes when we're young. So, hopefully he's learned from that. All right. So, I'm going to go to Mike first out of our guest that's joining us for the first time. What do you think about, I don't know how familiar you are with Willie Gay, but what do you think his potential is at the pro level?
The pro level is definitely a great fit for him. He's going into a defense that fits more of the things that he likes to do. I don't know if necessarily he's a pass rusher, but the thing is Reggie Ragland left, and he went to Detroit Lions. So he slides right in. Even if he doesn't start, he's going to get a lot of playing time. Mm-hmm. And he's an upgrade over Reggie Ragland because he can actually cover people as opposed to being a liability in the passing game. So Yeah, that was an Alabama dig. If
I would say this is a perfect transition.
Yeah, he definitely is a better all-around player in terms of a linebacker than what Reggie Ragland is, and that's definitely an upgrade. And he's definitely going to play a lot for them this year.
I would say, Stephen, your rebuttal. No, go ahead, Steve.
I mean, I'm not offended by it. I'm not covering Reggie Ragland. Reggie at times would be great in pass coverage, and Reggie would get burnt like toast in pass coverage. So I'm not offended at all, by the statement. But just going back to Willie Gay, this is a big-time talent. I mean, this is a guy that's going to play right with Chris Jones, on that defensive front and being able to affect the quarterback, stop the run, playing pass coverage. So it's about time that the Chiefs get somebody defensively that can be just as good as that Legion of Zoom they got on offense.
Legion of Zoom. That's a pretty interesting name. I hadn't heard that one before. I might have to steal that. No, I won't. But I guess my thing is with Willie Gay, I'll be first. I kind of worry a little bit. Like he had some sketchy stuff happen while he was in college. But I mean, people make mistakes when they're young. So hopefully I think the infrastructure, Kansas City is the perfect team for him to go to, not just, schematically where he can come in and play, but so he won't have to get frustrated by lack of playing time or somebody holding him back, being a second-round pick. But you got Chris Jones, you got Braxton Harriet, you got Martinez Rankin, and I want to say we got even someone else on the team. So that's going to be a situation where he got somebody to hang with, some guys that can kind of mentor him and kind of hover around him. He don't have to go there and, make new friends. He got his dogs. So he's going to be able to go there and kind of, those guys going to be able to show him the ropes. Chris Jones has established himself as one of the top 5 D tackles in the league. So, I mean, he's going to be able to show him what it takes to be a great pro. So, I know we spoke. Go ahead.
Not just that. I mean, even though this guy's an LSU guy, you got Honey Badger Matthew over there.
Yeah, a guy who went through his own share of character concerns when he was in college. So he understands what it's like. So I think, he'll probably be able to steer him the right way. But although his issues probably were slightly different, but there's some similarities there. We're not going to – go ahead.
One thing I want to point out to you as well, also Andy Reid is known for taking people with character concerns and giving them second chances or chances to prove themselves. So this is the perfect slide for him to go right there to Kansas City.
And I will say, I don't think Willie Gay's are as pronounced as everybody makes it out to be. Like I said, I don't consider Tutorgate, like when guys cheat on stuff, I don't look at that the same as, like Jameis Winston, what he did in college, or some of these other guys, Johnny Manziel. He cheated on some tests. I mean, that's about as American as Ole Miss. So, I mean, that's just what it is.
Well, see, listen at this, though. I mean, like I said, I keep going to bat for him because, I'm saying I'm a homer. I've been knowing the kid. But outside of football, well, of course, you got the cheating thing. But outside of football, you have nothing on this kid.
Right.
Everything that's happened, that's character issues, were football related.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's pretty much come from, okay, you had a fight with your teammate, which happens, and then thrown out the game. Like I said, that was sketchy. I think he got thrown out of the Ole Miss game the prior year. But it's stuff that can be harnessed and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. I'm still trying to wrap my mind over. Oh my God, it's a character concern. Like, what are we looking at? And so, but again, let's talk about football. Let's get off the character. I apologize.
Nah, it's cool. So let's talk about a guy like Cam Dantzler. Like, what I'm thinking about with Cam is, we've had Tavez Calhoun and Jonathan Banks, 2 guys kind of with a similar archetype. Banks only lasted a few years, although he got drafted high because he just didn't have, he was kind of a tweener, maybe didn't have the foot speed, the hips, all that stuff to make it in the league. And then you have Tavez, who's still kind of hanging around, but he hadn't really found his footing in the league yet. Like, my question is, do you think Tavez will kind of suffer a similar fate? Although he did run the 4.3, I do think he has better hips and feet than Banks did. But do you think he kind of suffers a similar fate, or does he kind of make himself have a longer career?
You said Tavez.
You talking about Cam?
No, I was referencing Jonathan Banks and Tavez Calhoun as guys with similar archetypes, and how Jonathan Banks only had a cup of coffee in the league, and then Tavez is kind of hanging around, but he hadn't really found a solid roster spot. So my thing is, will Cam Dantzler find a similar, suffer a similar fate? I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking, or will he have kind of a long pro career? So I go to Derrick first, then we kind of just move around.
Well, I'm a fan of Cam Dantzler's. I really feel like he has a skill set to make it in the NFL. I mean, the Vikings, they need defensive backs. He wasn't on the corner that they took, so it's going to be some healthy competition on that in that Vikings secondary. And then you got, Cole also, who can play corner and safety from our Bulldogs. So I think Cam Dancer is going to be all right. He does need to gain some weight, so he needs to get bigger, so he can, he don't want to end up like, because Banks was still kind of skinny too. So he needs to pick up some weight, get stronger. I think Cam Dancer, he's playing not just for himself, but for his son, his family. So he has extra motivation just to make the roster. So I think Cam Dancer is going to be fine.
So Steven, as a coming from Alabama, y'all had a chance to obviously go against Cam Dancer many times over the course of his career. What do you think his prospects are as far as going to the pro level?
I think he's going to be fantastic. I mean, just going back to piggyback off the weight thing and then going more so from that, the one thing I want to see Cam Dancer do more is playing the middle third of the field. Being able to play the middle third of the field, track that ball from sideline to sideline. There are times where he kind of gets lost and no man's got a little bit, but the hips are great. The footwork's great. I love the physicality. He can get nasty out there. Love the physicality, the ability to press jam off the line. So there's a lot of good things, but for me with Cam, if he can just be consistent playing the middle third of the field and not get caught on certain, drag routes, he'll be all right. He'll be good.
All right, so Coach Ville, what do you think Cam gonna do when he gets to the next level?
I mean,
or now that he is at the next level?
I also want to. I'm a Cam fan as well. As far as like the weight thing, I agree because people are bigger, in the NFL. But I think it'll come with him because besides him, jamming people at the line and being physical with them, I think his length helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
But him coming downhill and hitting people, I mean, I've seen him in person, like at a basketball game, and he looks like he's in the 7th grade. But he comes downhill when it's time to make a tackle, and it's reckless, and a good reckless though, good reckless. So I mean, that's what I love about him as being a cornerback. He's not afraid to put his nose in there and hit somebody. He's gonna have to have it. We're getting pass happy now in the league. People throwing the ball all over the place. He's gonna be tested. And if I don't know what kind of defense, go ahead.
I mean, so what you're saying that though, do you send him on blitzes? Do you time blitzes for him?
Well, I mean, because he was good at that now. He was good at that.
He was.
We did do that, but the thing is, are we trusting him? Because I mean, more than likely, we like that nickel to go most of the time. Are we gonna put him in there? He's a long guy. Do we want to keep him out there on the island by himself? I mean, he probably with just thinking out loud, he could be a guy that they move around like that. Because he will play, stick his nose in there and play some football. So that's a great add in right there. He could be, he could slide down on the inside a little bit to send him on that blitz or cover, get up on the tight end or something. Like I said, because that'd be a good spot for him.
So, Mike, what do you think about Mississippi State corner Cam Dancer as far as like his fit in the pro level? Because he is kind of an odd fit. Even though he ran a 4.3, he's probably not a 4.3 game speed guy. So, what do you think?
He ran a 4.6 at the combine.
He ran a 4.6
at the combine. He has two different times. He has a 4.6 somewhere and a 4.3 somewhere else.
All right, look, I only played in high school. I'm not gonna pull the Ricardo thing, but that's a pretty big discrepancy. I'm just saying. But Mike, what do you think?
Honestly, I think that for his skill set, I hear a lot of talk about his skill set, but the thing is, he has fluid hips, which is huge, and that's a big thing for a guy that's actually a defensive coordinator and a defensive back guy, and Mike Zimmer. And you remember how many defensive backs were drafted in Cincinnati and now in Minnesota under his reign? Because he likes drafting defensive backs and modeling them. I mean, give you an example. He's got Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, and Mackenzie Alexander that are leaving Minnesota this year, and the 3 cornerbacks he drafted are coming in to replace them this year. So it's going to be healthy competition. You could see him in a slot potentially. Just depend upon, how quickly he picks up things and just where, Zimmer thinks he fits best. He will need to pick up weight because, however, because you say he comes down fast. Coach, I believe, said he comes down fast and not afraid to stick his nose in there. However, 16 games with that type of game speed, he's gonna have to pick up some weight in order to make it an entire season.
Absolutely.
Right.
He'll be a welcome addition, and he's going to the right coach that'll be able to mold him into a defensive back in the NFL to have a long career.
I think he has a chance to have a long career. I think he is a little different than a Tevez or a Jonathan Banks. They weren't as fast. Like I said, I don't think he's a 4.3 game speed guy. Like that 4.6 is probably a bit more out, maybe 4.5. That's probably a little closer to what I've seen just watching him on, you can say film, whatever. Go ahead.
Well, if that's the case, then he'll more than likely be on the outside. I get the straight line speed, but it just depends upon the hips, the hand placement, and his ability to get in and out of cuts. If he's more, if he shows in camp that he's a little bit, quicker in and out of cuts, then they can potentially put him in the slot. If he doesn't, then he'll be outside, and that's where he'll make his living in the NFL.
And I think the key thing with him is, does he evolve into that lockdown guy? Because he is 6'2". He has that length. And, I mean, obviously, most of the big-time receivers in the league are a little bigger. So does he become that? Because he got to put on that weight to go against those Julio Jones and those guys. Them guys are huge. Mike Evans. Is he going to be able to go toe-to-toe with those guys? That's going to really determine his career. Because if you don't put on that weight, you can't slide him inside. You can see yourself becoming a guy that's only in the league for 3-4 years. Because they're like, where are they going to put you at? You're too light. Maybe don't have the foot speed to keep up with the speed of your guys. So it's kind of it's really going to be up to him. Like, he has the potential, though. But I know, Derrick, you wanted one more thing before we went to Brian Cole. You muted.
My bad. Before we move on, you also look at there's only one person who shut down the Biletnikoff winner this year. Cam Dantzler shut down Chase from LSU. Shut him down. And no one else did. What was the cornerback from Clemson? Got smoked. You know what I'm saying?
AJ Terrell.
Yeah, so he
what did they do was holding his hand up? They say, hold your hand up. That must mean you ain't no good.
He got drafted by the Falcons, I think, too, right? Mm-hmm. So the Saints fans are happy about that.
16.
So, Cam Dantzler has the ability to raise his game. Now, I know Chase is still in college, so now he's gonna have to meet the next challenge, and I think he will.
I think the thing is, I always notice with corners, when I watch the game and I never hear your name, that probably means you're pretty good. Like, that was the same thing like when Derrick Slay was at Mississippi State. I never heard his name. Everybody was like, it's almost like people didn't realize he was that good. Because the thing, anybody that play football or know anything about football, I know Coach Ville, I'm sure the corner that you hear his name a lot, that's probably not the one you want to play.
Because he gets targeted all the time.
Interceptions and returning for touchdowns. That's the only reason.
Yeah, like, so as a corner, truth be told, like, everybody's talking about how great Deion Sanders was, but, like, if you watch games, Deion Sanders, they never threw his weight. And, like, if they did, it was getting picked out. There was a reason you never heard his name. I mean, he had 4 or 5 picks, but it probably was the 4 or 5 times they decided they want to throw his way and stupid enough to do it. I think Cam will be okay, but I think a lot of it is up to him. He's not a slam dunk 10-year guy. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it'd be naive for us to say that, but I think he got a chance to be that guy. It's just a matter of the work he's willing to put in. He's in the right system to do that, the right infrastructure. It's just a matter if he's going to put that work in to do that. All right, so we're going to stick with the Vikings, and then we're going to go with talk about Brian Cole. I'm actually personally a very big fan of Brian Cole. I think that he would have went pro after last year if he hadn't got hurt. I thought he had a phenomenal start to the season. I thought he was ready to be a guy that was really maybe he wasn't going to be a first-round guy, but he definitely was going to be a guy who's going to be in the upper rounds, just with his physical tools. And he makes impact plays. That's what I like about him. He makes impact plays. I think he's kind of a guy that's a hard fit. Is he a corner? Is he a safety? Is he a nickel? But in a sense, he gives you that versatility because he can do all three. I think he's a guy, he played kind of in the slot at Mississippi State. I think he can play back deep. I think, in my opinion, he's a classic rover. He's a guy you move around. I think he has, with his size, he can blitz, he can cover, and he's physical. So I think he's a classic rover, a guy you move around and just do things with. I think he's going to kind of, in my opinion, and be more of a bigger Tyrann Mathieu. I actually know he was people were pronouncing his name wrong. It's actually Mathieu, not Mathieu. But anyway, I'm gonna go to Steven first. What do you think of Brian Cole and what he'll be able to do at the pro level?
You think of him more so as a tweener, Jay. I look at him primarily as a safety. Mm-hmm. I think of him primarily as a safety, and the reason why is Brian Cole has a rare instinct of tracking the ball. I watched him this past season. You thought I was thinking there were certain points where I'm thinking he's late getting to the ball, and out of nowhere I see a dart shooting from across the camera to the whole other side of the field. And it's Brian Cole either breaking up on a play or undercutting a route. So he's got deceptively fast recovery speed. It's not lightning, but he's got an ability to go from sideline to sideline. And at the moment where the receiver thinks I got to play on this ball, Brian Cole darts out of nowhere. So I would have him as a roving free safety.
Right. And that's the thing, is he's going to be a deep guy, in the box guy, but like you said, a roving free safety type. Because, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of shocked that he dropped all the way to the 7th round. I'm wondering what was behind that. I don't know if it was just sport testing or what, why would he drop it? Because he was in the Senior Bowl, but I just kind of wonder why he dropped to the 7th round. Because I thought he was a guy that had the chance to get drafted a lot higher. But I'm going to shoot it. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's the other guy that when Coach Viv was talking about, sticking his nose in, Cole was one of those guys. He had 7.5 tackles for loss, so he got no problem. He got no problem darting back there and taking the running back's legs from under it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know if the injury from last year probably hindered him. Because I remember before he got hurt last year, he was looking like one of our best defensive players. Like, I truly believe that. So I think that injury kind of maybe hindered him a little bit. But I'm going to shoot to Derrick. So, Derrick, what do you think his potential at the pro level is?
Well, CBS rates him as a B+ draft grade in the 7th round. So I like Brian Cole. And yes, his junior, he was one of our best defensive players. I mean, he was sacking the quarterback. He was getting interceptions. He was getting tackles for loss. I mean, he was making plays to keep us in games. And then when he got injured, you saw the drop-off of our defense after he got injured. So I was glad to see him come back. To have a successful senior year. I'm glad to see him go to a team like your friend said with Mike Zimmer. He knows how to, use defensive backs. And Brian Cole is versatile. He can play corner. He can play nickel. He can play safety, like you said. So he's going to give them a weapon. I think he's also going to impact the game on special teams.
Oh, for
because
sure.
He's that type of player.
He's a classic gunner.
He's going to be a gunner for sure. Be able to impact the game on so many levels, not just on defense. So, and hey, if someone gets hurt at wide receiver, he's a former #1 recruit out of Michigan for a wide receiver. So he's sticking back there, let him run down there and catch it. So I doubt that happens in Minnesota, but you never know.
Well, I think what you speak of there, and everything you're saying, is basically value. At the pro level, I mean, they only can travel 47 guys and only 53 guys on your roster. So a guy that can do a multitude of things and do them well, with special teams, maybe play a little receiver, play corner, play safety, that means you can move him around. That means you stick around longer, especially if you can maintain your health. So I think that's the thing could lead into him having a longer pro career. But I'm going to shoot to Mike next. Mike, what type of career do you think Brian Cole's going to have?
Well, just all depends upon, of course, the development. Is he going to be a safety? Is he going to be a corner? Is he going to be a nickel guy? He's got the ability to play all those positions. However, I think his best position, like was stated earlier, will be the safety position. I think pairing him with Harrison Smith definitely is a good thing because he can grow and learn from a veteran that's been in his system, been in Mike Zimmer's system. As he learns and grows from him, then potentially he can be grown to be that replacement. That actually could potentially give him a lengthy career in the NFL. Just all depends upon the development and how he takes on that system. But yeah, I could see him being in the league at least through a first contract, if not a second contract as well.
All right, so I saved the best for last. So Coach Ville, being a defensive coordinator, what do you think, like Brian Cole, like we're talking about how people would use him, how he's going to be used at the pro. What do you think his potential at the pro level, just how coaches are going to be able to use him?
Let me read this. NFL players are fully vested in the plan after 3 years on an active roster or injured reserve status. He will be tenured in NFL. That's what I have to say about him. I don't know if it depends on where he's going to be, because if he's behind, because he's coming in at 7th round, he's going to have to work. I mean, you have 7th round stories of how great, he was 7th round. He thrived and became something, right? You have that. But here's my thing. you already know that a 7th rounder has a steeper hill to climb, right?
Correct.
So if he's behind somebody, because just like the Del One story, remember that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have some guys in front of you that are, at your level or just a little bit higher, he's going to make that career as a special team. But just say if they have somebody that they didn't get a guy that's, a big name or something like that. Say, I don't know what's in Minnesota again. I'm not a big NFL guy, y'all. Y'all can probably see that right now. But if he doesn't have anybody in front of him that's just, all world, he has a shot to play some safety for a long time. But if he has somebody that's just really, really solid at that position, he'll get his 3 years, probably more. That's what Mike just said. He was almost finished, and then he said that. I was like, dang, he took my point. But he's gonna play. He's gonna play that, for those 3 years, and then possibly more. He's gonna be a great special teams guy, I think. Especially if it's like I said, it all depends on what situation he's in. If somebody's just elite above him, then special teams. But if it's somebody he can compete with, he has a shot.
I think my main thing with him is, like I said, I still wonder why he dropped to the 7th round. And as you said, he's a 7th round guy. I kind of just wonder why.
He doesn't have the, like you said earlier, he doesn't have the tape for it though. I mean, First of all, he didn't have the tape. Then he was hurt because, like you said, for a minute we were like, oh, we have something. We have something in Brian Cole, and all of a sudden he disappears.
I think a lot of guys, it seemed like, weren't as effective this year. I think for one, the Jeffrey Simmons effect, it's like we just didn't have the same punch this year. But that's a more head thing. I think that'll turn it. That's a whole nother podcast.
One of our guests said, as a former player, he said they weren't playing for him.
Yeah, it's just that lack of aggression. I mean, look, not having Jonathan Abram, I think, 3 first-round guys, obviously, but it just, something just seemed it was missing. But we're not going to go there because that's a rabbit hole. So I'm not going to necessarily skip over Tyree Phillips, but I wanted to get the Tommy touchdown. Tommy Stevens was one of the most widely talked about players on this podcast for close to a year.
Go ahead.
All right, so
Viv just left, man. Dawgs.
Man, you don't know
Ricardo is needed for this.
Man, we had so many debates about this kid. This guy, not a kid, grown man. But I guess the first question I asked, man, what the heck were the Saints doing? I mean, I kind of know what they were doing, but what were they doing? Now, of course, now they signed Jameis Winston. So it's kind of like, what are they doing? So I'm going to just go to Mike first, man. What do you think the Saints was just thinking? Drafting Thomas Stevens, now they signed Jameis Winston. Like, what do you think that just their thought process is?
Well, if you look at their team, you've got a utility knife in Taysom Hill. You got a quarterback, highly paid utility knife that wants to be a franchise quarterback that they say is going to be the franchise quarterback, which I don't believe, but that's another story.
Do my Shannon Sharp. Nope.
Then you've got Jameis is going to be the backup, which is going to be the Teddy Bridgewater role.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Stevens. Stevens pretty much is going to be a guy that's going to be a practice squad player that'll be able to, simulate different things and watch and learn. If he watches and learns and picks up a few things, then maybe he sticks around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not guaranteeing he sticks around at all. But, he's with Sean Payton, and Sean Payton is a pretty good offensive mind to pick every day. So if he does his job, emulates what they need in practice, which is essentially what he's going to be doing every practice, is essentially playing the scout team quarterback.
Right.
So what he's supposed to do, picks up a few different things, he has a chance to make it through the year. That's all I got.
Somebody got to play Lamar Jackson in practice.
Oh,
all right,
he's going to pull a hamstring doing that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can't even simulate that on a game. All right, so Derrick, what do you think? I know, man. Just the Saints decision. Just why do you think they made all these questionable
Taysom Hill Jr. I mean, that's what they see in him. He's 6'5", 230, close to 40 pounds, running a 4.4 40. The man has experience running, catching, throwing, and blocking, and of course, passing the football. Sean Payton probably thinks he hit the jackpot in the 7th round, getting another player that can do so much or has the ability to do so much on the football field.
Make Taysom Hill's very expendable. Keep going.
If Tommy Stevens makes the roster, it's probably going to be they're probably going to have to designate a new roster name for players like this, utility player. The NFL trying to extend the season and add more roster spots. I mean, this is going to benefit players like Tommy Stevens who can run, pass, throw, block, maybe kick. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have a chance to carve out a role. And if Tommy Stevens makes the team, wouldn't it be something if Taysom Hill throws a touchdown pass to Tommy Stevens? Two guys who are very athletic, who just don't look like they belong playing quarterback in the NFL, but they found a way to carve out roles with their athleticism. Sounds like Slash to me.
Here's the thing.
Don't disrespect Slash's name like that, please.
That's what they're doing.
Taysom Hill not the first guy really to do that in the league. Slash literally did it all.
No, he's not. That was Cordell Stewart.
But here's the thing, though. We keep talking about, everybody said they got another Taysom Hill and there's another utility guy. The NFL doesn't operate that way. If you have two guys that do the same thing, one of them's probably not going to stick around long. I mean, you probably drafted one guy. I remember, what was it? I think I was in college. Was it 06 or around that time? It may have been later than that. Keyshawn Johnson was talking about how, what was it, the Panthers? The Panthers, yes, it was the Panthers. They drafted a receiver. And he was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to be able to show him, how to be a pro. I'm going to show him this. He's just like me. And then what happened a week later? So it's kind of the fact that the Saints went and signed Jameis Winston, it's just hard for me to believe they have a lot of faith in Taysom Hill. Why would you go sign a guy like Jameis Winston? I mean, he's thrown a lot of interceptions in his career.
But 30 series all on his own last year.
But I think Jameis Winston is the rare guy that's a free agent and got cut by his team, but didn't have his contract renewed. He's a franchise caliber quarterback. That's what he is. And it's not like Jameis Winston is some 29 or 30 or 31-year-old quarterback, even like Cam's, on the other side of 30. Cam Newton is like 26 years old. You got to think about that. He's only 26. And then he threw for 5,000 yards last year. So how can you have Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston be like, hey, we rolling with this utility player over a guy who's led his team to a national championship and threw for 30 touchdowns last year and 5,000 yards. Yes, he threw like a lot of interceptions, but it's just, I personally think Taysom Hill is not loaned for the Saints. Thomas Stevens will be a practice squad player, maybe the third guy if, they trade Taysom Hill before the season. But I don't know. It's just still a puzzling thing.
I'll tell you this. Nobody's taking on that contract. So, no.
You say trade Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill.
He went and got the Saints jersey.
This is why I'm so upset right now.
We gonna disown you. I thought you said you was a Chief fan, homie. I know. You got the wrong jersey on, dude.
This man went and got the Reggie Bush.
I gotta get my Chief stuff. I'm a coast boy, man. Who that? Listen to me.
Trash. Ordered in trash.
I have no clue what this Tommy Stevens thing is about. I mean, dude, hey, he can do. Says who? Where we see it at?
We saw concussions at Mississippi State. That's all I saw.
Where are we seeing him? Oh, he can pass, run, kick. He won pass, punt, kick, and
before he got hurt, he was passing pretty well. I mean, before he got hurt.
Come on, dog.
Against subpar competition, yes.
Even like I said, the throws that he made, like Derrick, you could throw them.
No, I can't.
Come on, man.
No, I can't.
He made some nice throws, man. He put some.
Okay, he made a couple. Okay, for me to say I'm going to draft the quarterback, you say he made a couple good throws. No.
It was one particular throw in particular. I think it was kind of a seam route. He threw it. I want to say it was to Gidry. And that play, I was like, that's an NFL caliber. I can guarantee you that's the type of throw that got him drafted. And I think maybe
Guess what? every quarterback, every D1 starting quarterback can make a one.
That is a lie. That's a lie.
I think it's
every D1
athleticism
quarterback
got him
Starting D1
drafted.
quarterback, every last one of them can make one of them
Can't-
throws.
can't
I
throw those type of
don't
passes,
agree with
those
that. I
type
don't
of
agree with that. All right.
Does anybody else disagree with that? Like they can at least make them throw one time. If you're a starting D1 quarterback, you can't make.
Come on, man.
Look, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Jake Fromm, who got drafted this with the last day,
Call me out.
he has no heat on his arm.
You
The
just
reason
called
why
me.
he gets his passes to where they get to is because he anticipates routes. That's why he looked so bad when they were doing the routes and throwing at the combine, because he didn't know the receivers. He hadn't worked with them, so all of his passes were looking awful. That's why.
But Mike, this is what it is. The pass he's talking about, he just dropped it in a bucket. That's what I'm saying. He didn't.
Come on.
No, that was a very, very small bucket though, Ken.
Come on, man. Get a
that
man his
bucket,
credit,
I
man.
mean,
Get a man his credit. He got a good.
Are you talking about the
arm,
pass
man.
against Kansas State when he came back from the injury? Is that what you're talking about?
We do one pass. We talking about one. We predicating it off one throw, guys.
But that might have been what got him drafted.
Look, I'm gonna pull a Ricardo on you. I'm about to pull a Ricardo on you, dog.
Bro, I'm about to cry.
Starting quarterback in the 8th grade. You hear me?
Oh man, Thomas Stevens, I'm almost glad he got drafted. Now we can be done with it.
Out of here. One
Man.
pass.
Y'all don't, man. We had arguments from the summer up through the season about Thomas Stevens, Garrett Schrader, and I'm so glad KT gone. I'm not even gonna mention his name anymore.
I was on
Shame on you.
I was on Thomas' side until I saw him on the field.
All right, Steven, make sense of all this, man. Like, I think at this point we need
Man,
somebody.
I'm just sitting back here in the cut enjoying all of this. But man, I'm gonna talk about the Saints right now. I think the Saints were in heaven playing blackjack with this move, because I mean, to get Thomas Stevens along with Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, and you got Drew Brees, who this is probably gonna be his last season. It's probably gonna be his last season. I agree with what Mike was talking about on Tommy Stevens being a third guy on the roster, practice squad player. If he can make his way out of the practice squad and learn something from Sean Payton and Drew Brees, maybe that could be something right there. But to be honest, I think New Orleans was somewhere on Bourbon Street playing blackjack in this draft.
Yeah, that is kind of like.
But what did they lose though? It's just a 7-round pick. I mean, it's just a 7-round pick. So, I mean, really, what did they lose?
What, $330,000?
I got
But that's the thing. You saying just a 7-round pick and something that you already stacked at. Like,
I got a point though.
I see Sean Payton seeing double. He sees another athletic guy like Taysom Hill. I think he's gonna find a way to use both of them together. Just watch. I'm not a Saints fan, but I really feel like Sean Payton is gonna find him, because as much as Taysom Hill played this past season, I mean, he's gonna find a way to use Thomas Stevens.
I know how he gonna use him.
Got another point.
He gonna say, hey Drew Brees here.
All right, guys. Just for the sake of time, I mean, I'll kind of just briefly mention Tyree Phillips. He's always the guys, probably one of the more inherited guys, part of member of the team, but he's kind of worked his way into being able to get drafted in the top 3 rounds. He brings a lot of value, so he's a guy that definitely has a chance at the NFL level to kind of stick around. You can play guard and tackle, and considering they only probably carry 7 or 8 linemen, that's going to bring a lot of value to him at the pro level. Now, what I want to kind of get into.
Center too, right? Can he play center too?
No, he's like 6'5", 240, 345. I don't think that's happening. But I guess now, Derrick, do you have the graphic ready where we can go ahead and we can talk about some of our undrafted guys and like what are their chances of making it in the NFL? Making roster?
Just a second, I'll get.
So fans, you can bear with us for a minute while we get the graphic ready for us to kind of discuss which guys have a chance to make it at the pro level.
Hey, I got a quick point for you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got a quick point for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about Tommy Stevens, and I thought about a few things. If Tommy Stevens is a black guy that's 6'5" and 200-something pounds and barely threw the ball the way he did, he doesn't get drafted. But because he's a 6'5" white guy that can run around maybe a little bit, Here you go. Here you go. Sorry, my daughter is talking to me. But
New Zoom life, man. This is Zoom culture.
yeah, as far as him, I don't think he gets drafted as a 6'5" black man that throw the football. I don't think.
They're trying to
he
change
can't
his
really throw.
position of
He can't really
receiver.
throw it well.
Here's my thing with Thomas Stevens. Like, I am a fan of Thomas Stevens. I think he can play. Here's my thing. He has a live arm. I think he's a reasonably accurate quarterback. I've never considered him inaccurate. He's a little fragile, not a little, a lot fragile. And he can run. So he does have that ability to do some option stuff. You don't do that as much in the NFL. And I would never just listen to him talk. He sounds like a guy that has a high IQ. So I think, like, he has some tools. Like, we could, and I even said early in the season, he's a guy that probably get drafted.
Hold on. Jay Short, where did he make on the Wonderlet?
I don't know. I don't even keep up with that. Was he even at the combine? I'm trying to think. Was he even at the combine?
They didn't know him.
Man, he's probably sitting there sipping in the background,
Yeah,
talking
you ready?
to. I'm saying he knows where the bodies are if you draft me. He's probably talking about in the background doing that.
Derrick, ready? Okay.
Yeah, give me just a second.
Oh,
Just
hey.
trying to.
All right.
So we're giving this guy a free pub. I thought you already had the graphic ready. But
You got to pay for this.
It didn't want to be. It didn't want to behave, man.
okay, that's cool.
It didn't want to behave. It
Go.
didn't want to.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a former Tennessee Blady Ball.
Yes, sir.
it didn't want to behave, man. You know, trying to get that video.
Well, I don't need the video. I didn't need the graphic where it shows guys that got undrafted.
That's what I was using.
Okay.
Let's
All
just
right,
talk
guys.
about it.
All right, so let's just talk about. All right, so guys. So Kendrick, I'll go to you first. Out of all the guys that got undrafted, I mean, most notably, you have Derrick Williams. Which guys do you think won't, not won't, will make have the best chance of making a pro roster?
You said that won't make it?
That has the best chance. I said that first wrong. It has the best chance of making a pro roster.
All right. Let's see. Mississippi State player. Let me go and run them down since we got it pulled up real quick. Darrell Williams, Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Chauncey Rivers, Baltimore Ravens. Good spot for a defensive guy in the box. Great spot for him. Stephen Guidry, Dallas Cowboys. Isaiah Zuber, the Patriots. Oh, wow. That's intriguing.
That's a great look. That's a great
intriguing.
look.
All right. Leo, look. Okay. Tommy Chapin, Seattle Seahawks. Lee Autry, Chicago Bears. And Laquarius Landrews, New York Giants. Oh, we're not done. Farrod Green, Indianapolis Colts. Oh, wow. We sent them all down there, didn't we? All right. Landrews.
Man, Joe Moorhead.
That's my guy. I'm going with Landrews. Landrews, we were talking about. I don't understand what happened this year, or what is this past season. Landrews is just like how Cole was. Landrews, all of a sudden, everybody was like, "Who is Landrews? Who is Landrews?" And all of a sudden, he disappeared, got hurt. If again, everything's predicated to if he can stay healthy, he's going to be amazing. I think because the little work he did, at State, he what is going on the screen? Is that the graph?
Yeah,
I don't want
that's
to
the
show it too
video.
long. We can't do that. So
Okay, I was like, what is going on? But anyway, yeah, I like Landrews. I like him a lot.
he's playing for a Bulldog too. So don't forget that.
You said that what now?
He's playing for a Bulldog with the Giants. So
Okay, yeah.
with Joe Judge. So I mean, that doesn't buy him no favors, but I mean, it can't hurt.
Now, the Zuber thing, if the offense is still gonna run like it ran, he might do well in New England. Of course,
Who's gonna be the quarterback?
They lost a big
They
part.
said Jared Stidham was a guy. Like that's what they keep saying.
They lost a big part of that offense.
My speculation, I think, is gonna be Cam, but that's just me. I have no sources. I just think it's gonna be Cam. I think Cam's going there.
But
It makes way too much sense.
makes
But
I like Darrell Williams and Landrews. Those are my guys. I'm gonna let everybody else talk about it, but those are my guys for Darrell was solid. He was very, very solid.
he's a pro. He's a pro.
Yeah, he's solid. He's so he's solid, and he got nicked up a little bit, but it wasn't anything to turn your head at, to make you turn your head. But he's very solid guy up front. He was another one that played another position and then moved to center. He wasn't our center at first. When
He was
when
a guard.
the Bros left, he ended up coming over to the center position. So I like him, and I love Landrews as well.
All right. Well, of course, you know, with me being a Chief fan, I'm glad that Derrick Williams is with Kansas City because he gives us a guy who can play center and who can play guard, which we need that versatility. And finally, a young man who he's probably glad he's out of college because he's had a certain unnamed fan base and their lawyers hounding him for years and years and years. I cannot wait to see what Leo Lewis does in Pittsburgh because Leo Lewis is a talent. He just has had a rough 2 years, not just on a football field, just with everything going on with the lawsuits and the NCAA. The young man and focusing on keeping his grades up. The young man struggled on the football field.
He said 2 years.
So 2 years. He had a bad 3 years. Well, he was a personal.
Just throw the third year away. Throw the third year away.
You know, so I mean, that first year on the field, he was a beast. So I'm saying, so I'm glad to see him get a chance.
Strong word.
Right.
I can't wait to see what he does in Pittsburgh, a team that needs linebackers.
Well, Derrick, listen, I'll be the first to say I am rooting for him. Now, let me say that first. Now, since his freshman year, I've been saying 5-star where. So
he was actually 4 stars, but who's counting?
So he was. I think he was 5 on some.
He was a 5-star at one point.
5.
He was the #1 rated inside linebacker.
Yeah, and he still was rated 4-star, but that's semantics. All right. So Steven, like, what do you think about some of our Bulldogs that didn't get drafted? And we're about to kind of get into some SEC guys, talk about some Alabama guys, and you kind of give us some insight. But tell us about which one of our Bulldogs you think actually got the best chance making it at the pro level. Our undrafted guys got a chance to make it at the pro level.
I agree with Leo Lewis, and let me throw in Stephen Guidry in there. I think Guidry, wide receivers, got a good chance.
Really?
I'm not Guidry though. I mean, Guidry got hops though.
He's fast, yes. Is he gonna be a Featherstone? I mean, come on.
I'm gonna say this though.
They don't finish.
What about Guidry though? If Guidry can get a little bit more weight though, because one thing I like about him, he like to make them contested catches though. He can get up. He can get up and make a couple of them contested catches, though. So if he can pack on about a good maybe 5 to 8 pounds, 10 if he can, but 5 to 8, help him with those contested catches.
I think the thing is,
my friend.
Just to touch on Gidget. So just touch on Gidget. Okay. I mean, I've always like this talent level is just up here. I was kind of worried about it. I wouldn't even talk about. You gotta let. Okay. So Guidry, the talent is there. I mean, I'm glad he's with Dak, so I think it's gonna be an opportunity there, obviously a connection there. So I would make fast friends with the quarterback if I was him. But I mean, he's a pro. I've always felt he was an elite talent. It's the other stuff I always worried about with him, and I think that's what you got to worry about a little bit with a Stephen Guidry. So I think he definitely has a chance to probably make a pro team. It's just like, will he put the work in, the mental preparation part of it to actually make a pro team? And then you look at, I might as well go ahead and give my spiel on who's going to make it. I personally think the guy I feel the most sure about is probably Derrick Williams because I feel like he's a true pro. Maybe it's just some injury issues. Maybe the medicals didn't come back right. And then you go with the guy like Isaiah Zuber. If they do run a similar scheme in New England, they have the last, 20 years, he's a perfect fit for what they do. He's a guy that can play inside, outside, he can return kicks. He's a Belichick guy. Like, it just fits. I mean, if he had a better year, he probably got drafted by a team like the Patriots. So I can really see him making that roster and probably even sticking around for a while. So I just kind of finish up with Mike. Of all the Bulldogs they got, went undrafted, which one of them you think has the best chance of making it to the league? I mean, making it in the league.
I'll say this. I'm not necessarily most familiar, but I will say that in a wide receiver and passing-driven league, if Guidry shows up, Guidry stays focused. I don't know about putting on the weight or anything like that because it's more mental than actually putting on weight. But if he shows up, he can make a roster. And the last guy you spoke about too, the versatility, that's a huge, huge thing for Belichick. He can play different positions. He likes your stock. So I think that is a huge thing for him going to England.
Yeah, because their slot guys aren't your typical slot guy like the speedy guys who do all this running back stuff and reverses. Their guys are more like guys that can work the seams and those Wes Welkers, and he's probably a lot more talented than those guys. He returning kicks, a Wes Welker or Julian Edelman. Those are the type of guys that they normally have in the slot. So, that's normally what they do there in New England. All right, so let's get to what I actually had y'all guys come on from is around the SEC segment. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the guys. The SEC ended up having 25 guys drafted in the first 2 rounds. I mean, it just continues to speak about the SEC's dominance. It's just, the SEC is the SEC. So, guys, just kind of speak to, and I guess I'll go to Steven first, because I know he can speak the most to this. Why do you think the SEC has been so dominant for the last really 15 years? Well, probably.
Because when you look at it, where do you see all the NFL GMs, coaches, scouts they go to? They go to the SEC practices. They're at the SEC games because they know this is where we're going to get the most of marquee talent and the most ready talent, to where you got the coaching staff putting it on you. You got your teammates putting it on you. You got the strength and conditioning coaches putting it on you. And when you're getting the best 4- and 5-star talent, and all of these things combined push you to be the best that you can be, these scouts are going to go to, more times than not, these SEC games to watch these guys.
Take that thing off mute, Jeremiah.
But Jeremiah must have stepped away. But and I don't know if you all have seen. Did y'all see Danny Cannell's tweet?
No.
Who's that?
Danny Cannell talking about the SEC is, he basically accused SEC of buying players, in my opinion. Just whining about how many SEC guys are getting drafted. Basically, just whining. The SEC can't help that they have the best players.
No, the reason why he can't help that is because he knows Jameis Winston will forever be a better Florida State quarterback than him. Chris Winky's a better Florida State quarterback than him. We talking Winky.
Danny Cannell did suck. He did, but
Christian Ponder's better than that man.
Yikes.
Christian Ponder, oh my God. That's worse than saying Rosho Nasterovich.
So, you guys are Alabama guys. So, what do you
Steve
think
is
about...
the Alabama guy.
Oh,
okay.
Mike, who was your team?
What's that?
Who was your team?
Tennessee.
Oh, a volunteer. But
I'm so
before we go
sorry.
any further, I have to take this shot. There was one team in the SEC that didn't have anybody drafted. Can you name that team, Kendrick?
Hotty toddy.
I'm not gonna talk about that, dude. I was serious when I said I'm not gonna make fun of them people.
We got to.
They actually did have one.
Dreams were crushed.
No, he got drafted as a Florida Gator, not as an Ole Miss Rebel.
Florida, but
those guys' dreams were crushed. I think, but did Benito?
He's
Jones
probably signed a free agent.
Undrafted free agent.
Free agent for Benito.
But I think he left early though, didn't he?
No, he played his whole 4 years.
It was his whole 4. Okay. But see, I thought he came out early, but still, I'm gonna say this real quick and I'm gonna keep moving. It's just, I guess, the compassionate side of me, being an educator, being a teacher, and all of that kind of stuff. Being a coach, it's like that's what they work for. They've been working for this since they were 8 years old, 6, 7 years old. And then when they get to this point, it's all of a sudden they just sitting and waiting, and they never get that call. Of course, they're getting that shot if they get the free agency call. They're gonna get that shot. But to have your name called, for the draft, man, I couldn't even imagine, dude. So I guess after this season is over with, maybe I might come back and say, hey, man, remember last year? But right now, I can't do it.
0 for 225, 255. I'm sorry. So, Steven, you're the Alabama guy. Of course, your top-rated draft pick, Tua, to the Dolphins. And what's your analysis of that and his readiness to play whenever football comes back?
I was happy Tua went to Miami. I was kind of hoping that he would go to LA, honestly, but he goes to Miami despite the smoke screens. Personally, I would like to see him sit a year, get really, really 100%. I know the doctors are saying he's healthy, but at the same time, Miami does not have the best offensive line. Let's just be real about that. They don't have any really, really good running backs. They got the Myles Gaskin kid out of Washington. He's decent, but not all that great. After Devontae Parker, who do you have at wide receiver? So if I was Tua, I would sit myself down for a year, learn under Ryan Fitzpatrick and let that thing go from there.
Man,
Right.
all I know
Go
is
ahead,
all I know with Tua is that he kind of like that last image of him get hurt at Mississippi State bleeding and all of that. It's just like I do like that can go step onto a field next year. Like I just don't. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. So
I mean, he's got to learn how to protect himself. That's Tua's biggest problem. Like Tua's been taught since coming out of Hawaii, if I'm not making the big play, then I'm failing. What am I doing? He's been trained like that from his dad to June Jones to even down to Trent Dilfer at points. If I'm not making the big play, I'm failing. And that's not necessarily the case. So he's got to be willing to take what the defense gives him, truly do that, protect his body, slide for crying out loud, throw the ball away, minimize those hits on his body.
all right, so Mike, just kind of talk about the SEC's dominance. SEC's dominance over the past like just 15, 20 years.
Well, first it comes off with the recruiting. Saban kind of took that up another level. And then every other team, the LSUs, the Georgias, the Floridas, and everyone else is meeting that level and then some. So that's where it first starts. Secondly, the coaching, the quality of the coaching. You can recruit as many great players as you want, but if you don't have great coaches, then it goes nowhere. And then after that, you just have players that just want it and they just, see it as the training ground to get ready for the next level. I was talking to I can't remember what his first name was. Last name is White. He got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. I was talking to him on the red carpet.
Devin White.
What's that?
Is it Devin White?
Yeah. I was talking to him on the red carpet last year in the NFL draft, and I was asking him about, getting prepared for the NFL, and he's saying, man, it's just the SEC, playing in the SEC prepares you and gets you ready because you're going against top-notch athletes every single week. So, that type of preparation and that type of competition seen every week will get you there. And that's why the SEC is one of the top conferences.
Right. And so let's get to some of the big names, So let's get to So let's talk a little bit about Jake Fromm. Why do you think, and I'll go to you first, Kendrick. Why do you think Jake Fromm fell in the draft? A lot of people projected him possibly get drafted a little higher. Obviously, he has one of the better careers in Georgia football history. Famously, in a sense, in some ways, beat out Jacob Eason. I don't think that's quite what it was, but he kind of slipped a little bit into the 5th round. It was kind of one of the big talking points of the draft. Why do you think he slipped so far?
So, okay, my opinion. You use the word he slipped. I use the word he got lucky and got drafted.
So, bingo.
Right. I mean, think about it. He's had a freaking a stable of running backs that's carried him all the way. And then this year, who did he have this year? I think he had
Swift.
He had Swift.
He was the only one.
No, they had them freshmen. They did
They
all
had
right.
them what?
No, but Swift was the one that pretty much was the guy.
Right. They had them what though, Derrick?
Oh yeah,
Them
freshmen.
freshmen, yeah. Now, he's had we got 3-back systems. He done had 3-4-back systems. You know what I'm saying? And so all he had to do was, hey, let me hand this thing off. I think one game he threw 3 passes, I think. I can't even remember what game it was. It was like, dude, I mean, I legit, I wish I probably look it up. He didn't throw double digits. It probably was against us, but he didn't throw the ball. I mean, and it was when he threw it, it was like, okay, this dude is not going to go very far. And I was confused on why the kid that went to Ohio State didn't take his position, and I was like, okay.
I can tell you why.
I can tell you why too.
Yeah, we already know the answer.
I can tell you why too.
We already know the answer.
I want to know.
I can tell you why too.
No. We already know the answer. And the answer is he's basically a third generation Georgia football player, and they didn't want to tarnish that reputation.
Yeah.
So that's why he started over him. I can tell you.
Well,
that.
here's the thing. The man tarnished his own reputation, choking in the national championship game, letting the second-string quarterback, unfortunately for him, to became a first-round draft pick, steal his thunder. That man's draft stock been tanking ever since Tua brought Alabama back in that championship game. I mean, Jake
Now, here's a
Fromm.
question.
He was a freshman too, though. I mean,
Because the only thing that sticks out to me about that championship game is the comeback, right? So let me ask you this, Derrick. Did they have to rely on Fromm at any point?
No, I mean, when they tried to, they couldn't. Alabama defense was stopping them.
No, that's it.
I'll tell you.
You can't rely on him.
I'll tell you the reasons why Jake Fromm didn't get drafted as high as some people thought he did. Like I said previously, Jake Fromm has never had a strong arm. His biggest thing has been anticipating where people run routes. Also what he does is he sees defenses very well. So what he does is he kind of draws up or kind of adjusts things before the play happens. And, defenses weren't keen to that when he first got into the SEC. But as he got there and coaches studying him more, they knew exactly what to take away from him to make him throw this pass, that pass, the other. And his arm is not strong enough to beat any coverages. So essentially he's just an ordinary guy. His intellect and his mind was the only thing that made him better than what he was. That's why he slipped so far down. He's not an exception.
I'll say this, man. Kirby Smart lied to the whole program. He lied to the whole program. I mean, because of the fact that, look, he knew that Justin Fields was better, lied to Justin Fields, lied to that man's family. He ends up getting out of Dodge and going to Ohio State. And then when you look at Jake Fromm,
he got cleared right away. It's still bounced.
And then you look at Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm struggled against Kentucky, struggled against Auburn, got beaten to death by LSU, and on top of that, I don't even think Kirby Smart trusted him to throw the football. I don't think Kirby Smart believed he could throw the football.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I don't think Kirby Smart believed he could throw the football because look, when he had Jim Chaney prior to last year, Jim Chaney let him do a little bit of something, but then you remove Jim Chaney and you bring up this other guy that trusts the running backs over you. Kirby Smart didn't back up Jake Fromm. Kirby knew Jake Fromm couldn't throw.
That's why I keep telling you. The only thing he can do is anticipate things. If we could take that away from him, he's a very average to ordinary to mediocre quarterback.
Now
is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make the squad?
He'll career back up. I think
be a backup.
Career back up. I mean, if you got it, that's
career
smart.
journeyman.
I mean,
Probably.
Chase Downs made a whole career out of that. Nick Fitzmagic or whatever his name is, Ryan Fitzmagic's been on like 800 teams.
Yeah, but he performs when he plays, though.
Yeah, for like 5 games that people realize he's Ryan Fitzgerald. Oh, not Fitzgerald.
We see where your mind at.
Yeah, that's what Deion Sanders them said. They were saying like, he does well for a while, and then people realize he's Ryan Fitzpatrick. So
it's Fitzmagic and Fitztragic. It's just whichever one you don't get.
Yeah, it's kind of like you see all that stuff went down with Jameis Winston that one year, and they're like, oh, Jameis, he's about to get replaced, and then Fitzpatrick turned back into Fitzpatrick. So
he became Fitztragic.
So here's my thing with Jake Fromm. I think he's a solid quarterback. No, he doesn't have the biggest arm, but just referencing the Justin Fields situation, he should have never went to that school because even when he committed, they still had Jacob Eason. That's a school he should have never went to.
Right.
I understand why.
He wasn't gonna beat that tradition.
Yeah, and it just wasn't a clear path. Like even if you're a 5-star guy, like you need to go somewhere where if you're a 5-star guy, you need to go somewhere where you're gonna be the guy for sure. Like I'm all about competition and all of that, but it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, I think maybe he got a little enamored by what happened with Tua, but that was like a kind of in most situations, a Jalen Hurts doesn't get replaced. You look at Jake Fromm, he flat, he in the years Justin Fields, and then he still has probably one of the most storied careers in Georgia history numerically. He's still one of the best quarterbacks to come through there by the numbers. You just can't replace a guy like that if he's winning. Now, like I said, I think a lot of people get enamored by the Tua thing, but I think that was just a rare situation. Nick Saban, he's the only coach in America that could have got away with that move. No other coach could have pulled that I don't think Dabo could have pulled it, not in the national championship. Maybe at some point. No, Dabo
He
did.
pulled it doing this
Nah.
on the way to the national championship. He benched Kenny Bryant.
Go ahead.
Now, what's crazy about this, Jay, what's crazy about it, since you bring up Tua and Jalen, because I covered these two extensively in 2017. And I'm going to tell you this. I remember the 2017 spring game, and Jalen and Tua was out there dueling like Goku versus Vegeta. I mean, they out here just
Which one was Goku, though?
Which one was Goku? I give it to Tua. Tua was Goku in this one.
I was going to say, because remember, Goku always beat Vegeta, and the only reason he beat him the first time, and we sound like real nerds right now, the only reason that Goku actually, only reason Vegeta actually beat Goku was because Goku let him in, but keep on.
Sure. But the point being, both of these two are slinging darts across the entire field. So at the end of the 8-day game, like both guys have like 300 yards passing. And I'm seeing fans leave this stadium going, okay, Jalen's good, but this Tua kid? Woo, this Tua kid. Sweet Jesus, Tua kid? We gonna need him.
Probably said it just like that, didn't he?
Yes, at some point, we gonna need him. At some point, we gonna go to him. And I remember it got down to the Iron Bowl. No lie, the Iron Bowl. And that was the game where Jalen kind of struggled a bit, and the offensive coordinator didn't stick to the run game. You had a whole bunch of fans in Jordan hair going, why is Tua not in? Why we ain't playing Tua? Why Tua ain't out there? And then it got to the semifinal. Why Tua ain't in? Why we ain't playing Tua? What's going on with Nick? We got a 5-star flamethrower on the bench. Put him out there. And then it just so happened in the national championship game, Nick makes that move. But, Jay, people were calling for Tua way for the championship game.
Yeah, and that's really what was out there. Even at the time, they talked about how the offensive coordinator wanted him to play the whole time. But I'm
telling you, the offensive coordinator didn't care about Jalen at all. Like, I watched Brian Dable. He kept his head in the playbook every time Jalen was on the field. He didn't even look at Jalen. Then when Tua take the field, his head come out the play sheet looking dead at Tua's face. I mean,
it's just those little things. I think the thing is, Jalen has those limitations. He don't have the big arm like a Tua has. And this might be a controversial take. I kind of think Jalen's going to have a better career. That's just me. But it's just me. But I just see
He'll
more.
Be 2 or 3 years in Philly, in my opinion.
You say he'll be the starter in 3 years?
He'll be starter at the most 3 years. I give it 2 years. He'll be the starter.
He might be starting this year with the injury-prone quarterback.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I'm Carson Wentz. I'm like,
that dude
kind of like
more injury-prone than Thomas Stevens.
And it is like
it's like I feel so bad for Carson because he gets the $108 million extension, and then bow, there goes his knee. Bow, there goes his back.
I think it's because he won that. He had an MVP caliber year that year they went to the Super Bowl, and I think he's really just had some really bad luck. Like, I think it could just be like that. So he had some really bad luck. He finally made it to the playoffs.
He better pray he does not end up on a Madden cover.
Man, it might work in the reverse. He might reverse the curse in a different way. All right, so let's run down just for the sake of time. We got Lynn Bowden, we got Joe Burrow. We got to discuss Joe Burrow, man. I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. I'm just not on the Joe Burrow train, man. I don't know. Of course, Steven, like Alabama had many battles with him the last 2 years. 2 battles with him the last 2 years. Like, do you think Joe Burrow is gonna be a franchise quarterback? Like, everybody keeps saying he's a lockdown first, but even I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't get it.
I'll say this: it comes down to do the Bengals build around him? Cincinnati has the cheapest organization in the NFL. They got a general manager who's 85 years old. He don't believe in paying nobody. You got guys like T.J. Hushmanzada and Carson Palmer saying, "Thank God we got the heck out of there when we did." A.J. Green is being wasted, just wasted like a bottle of Hypnotic, just being pulled out. Like A.J. Green being wasted right now.
They heard Hypnotic.
They're wasted.
Hypnotic.
I mean,
That's like saying curve.
they wasted AJ Green's talents over there. So it comes down to, do the Bengals draft help for Joe Burrow? And I've had this conversation before. Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. He's a great prospect. My thing is, 2018, they kind of simplified stuff for him. 2019, you get Joe Brady in there. He really, really takes off. So in the NFL, do the Bengals have an offensive coordinator that can continue to develop him, or is it the Joe Brady effect and Burrow starts playing for the Bengals and he really struggles?
Is it the Joe Brady effect, or is it the Bobby and Joe effect? I mean, you got to look. The Bengals had 2 tight ends. You had Thaddeus Moss, who didn't get drafted, but got an undrafted free agent deal. And then Steven
That
Sutherland.
was a shock to me, though.
Yeah.
I sure thought Moss' son was going to get drafted.
Here's my question, though.
He's stepping into a good situation.
Yeah, here's my question, though. Because I had a discussion with somebody else on Facebook. He said, hands down, Burrow, the what did he say, greatest college quarterback of all time. And my thing, yeah, that's what he said. Listen, he said that because he was like,
scream there, fans.
It was like 60, however many touchdowns, 60 touchdowns or some crap like that.
Mm.
No.
And I said, well,
touchdowns, I think 65
listen,
total scores.
So who did 2 NFL receivers now who weren't even the best receivers on the team?
Tight ends.
All right. Then you had good tight ends. Did they make Burrow or did Burrow make them? So that's my question leading up into
Burrow was on the team the previous year, though, but this.
And see, and that's the thing on the team. Think about it. How LSU they had a whole team drafted pretty much. At least, about 10?
There was 13 or something in the first
That's a
two
whole
rounds.
side of the ball drafted.
It was a lot.
The kid from Nashville got drafted. Was playing linebacker, Jacob Phillips.
I think it's like a record or something. I think they had the record or something for the number of guys drafted.
I mean, that was a great
They tied for the record
That was a great team.
for a total draft.
If anybody knows, I mean, y'all know about football. Defense and offense, it goes hand in hand.
Right.
My defense is showing up and clowning. It's gonna carry over to the other side of the ball.
Right.
And so if you give me 3 and outs, or maybe 4 or 5 plays a drive, whatever. If that's what you're giving me, and I get back on the field, that means what? That other defense is steady, taking snaps, and we're gonna whip the crap out of them. So that goes hand in hand. So I'm not all the way on Joe Burrow. He looks comfortable. He sits back there. He reads. He throws the good throws. But as saying franchise, I think it could be. But I'm not going to crown him as no franchise player.
How many first-round quarterbacks could be as the first pick in the draft, though? Like, you think, most times, like, some guys, like, even Mike Vick, even though, he ended up not having a career, a lot of us expect because he went to jail and all that good stuff. But, who can say that he wasn't a franchise quarterback? He basically was a franchise quarterback for two organizations. Eli, I don't want to go down that road. But
No, Jay, are you really referring to Ryan Leaf right now?
Ryan Leaf wasn't the first-round pick, though. He wasn't the first pick, though. He wasn't the first pick, though.
Oh, he was on first overall.
First overall. Like, how many guys are for sure first? It's kind of like in the NBA. I feel like sometimes you win the lottery, and sometimes you get the number 1 pick. There's a difference. When LeBron James is the best player in the draft, you win the lottery. Sometimes you just get the number 1 pick, like when you get Kenyon Martin. I mean,
when you get Michael Candy too.
Oh, wow! You pulled a name out there. You gotta think
Michael Olowokandi.
Wait, was Kwame? No, Kwame wasn't the first pick, was he?
Actually, he was. Yes, he was. He was.
He did become serviceable later in his career, though.
Ryan
Leaf was the number 2 pick, and he's just most remembered for getting drunk and getting on drugs and getting kicked out of the NFL.
He's like a coach now.
Screaming match at reporters in the locker room.
Attacking a linebacker. Attacking a reporter and having Junior Seau restrain him in the locker room.
All right, man, you better go.
So I think he's doing good now for himself, though. I think he's doing good.
I wonder what that general manager is doing right about now. I'm just wondering.
Hey, he's
Kentucky Derby, bro.
Boy, those draft picks that them general managers had to dread too. It's like, dude, like, what was I thinking? You think it's so sad. I know I was young at the time. I actually thought people were crazy. I thought Ryan Leaf was the better. You know, that was the big debate at the time. Who's better, Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning? And at the time, I was like, man, I don't see how you don't take Ryan Leaf because he had the big arm and all this good stuff. You didn't know he was crazy. So
biggest thing to know about me, I'm a Tennessee fan, but I've never been a huge Peyton Manning fan at all.
I know he didn't win that championship.
I like T. Martin way better.
Yeah, he was the quarterback
that's why.
He was the quarterback when Steve Spurrier said you can't spell citrus without
I don't want to
T.
talk about T. Martin in Tennessee. And Kendrick, you already know why. You know what I'm saying? Lost the championship game, man.
He got
That's the T. Martin, man. I tell you, hey, and
you know, I don't want to talk about no T. Martin. No, we're not going to talk about T. Martin.
that was our year right there.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about no T. Martin.
That was our
We
year.
should have won that
man,
game.
sorry.
You know what? That's you got to
But,
come back. Cause we're going to roast you. We're going to roast you. Tennessee Volunteers. We're going to talk about some damn T.
All right.
Martin.
I don't know if we got any type of graphics or anything for this, but we can kind of get into kind of tied up. I know people got stuff to do. So let's talk about some of the stuff that happened in the draft, man. Like, not the draft as far as like players get drafted, but some of this foolishness that happened with some of these families.
I tell you, hey, Isaiah Wilson's mom is the MVP.
Yeah, she got her out of there.
She showed him.
No.
So
I'm gonna tell you who the MVP is. The MVP is old boy. That guy, that old boy whose daddy fell out in the middle of the floor, rolling all over the floor. He got up and he called his sister on FaceTime like, "We out the projects, baby. We made it. We out the
What
hood.
was
We
that
got money."
name?
Where was the Dave Chappelle skit where he was like, "I'm rich"? Well, I don't want to say the word.
So like, what made it so bad though? What made it so bad though was the wife was sitting there telling him, "We dignified. He like, "Dignified my foot. We made it."
It's over with.
It seemed like an episode of the Good Times or so. Yo, so my question.
That man was two-turned.
All right, so my question is, do you think that was CeeDee Lamb's agent calling?
That's what he said, but I don't know. He might have been getting
No.
he might be getting that Instagram DM video.
No. See, this is one of them girls that CD used to be with on the magic carpet back in kindergarten. And so she wanted to speak to him, want to get with him.
You got that video for us, Derrick?
Yeah.
Well, this is just a video of him. I'm talking about like the draft video.
And you know the girl that he was talking to, or the girl he's dating now is Trey Young's ex-girlfriend.
I think
Somebody told me that.
Yeah,
it's ex-girlfriend.
Okay, here we go. Let's do the play-by-play.
125?
Now watch his head, watch his eyes, watch his mouth, and watch him shake his head like, no, don't start this now.
Just skip to that part.
Here, is this it?
See there, trying to claim a man, scantily clad clothes.
Yes, it didn't show. It had it before. Oh well. But
we'll work on these graphics for the next show, ladies and gentlemen.
But I have this one.
We got so many tabs open.
Oh, this one too.
Oh yeah, I think some have speculated that's the stepmom.
Stepmama, grandmama, somebody. It's an older lady.
Nah, she don't look that old. She don't look grandmama old.
You can't see her that dress looks grandmama-ish. But it was funny. But mama was like, "Nuh-uh, sister."
Ain't touching my baby. You ain't getting nothing.
But see, with the CD, with the CB, CD, Elemental P, whatever his name is, CB Lamb. I don't know what the letters are, but
Bro, I said Elemental P.
I don't know. I don't know if somebody was calling or not or what. It don't matter. I think the girl thought, he ain't gonna do nothing because we on TV. That's what that was about.
Hey, that man got that awareness though. He
He
want to
thought
top.
she
He want to
had
top
up-
40 pick for no
He
reason.
thought that was trying to sneak in there, and he was like, "Nah, I ain't having it." That dude was smooth. Michael Jackson, smooth criminal, son.
All right. So I don't know what was the other one, Isaiah Wilson, man. What was up with that? Like, well, I mean, the real question ain't like we know it was wild, but the real question is, does she make the trip to Nashville? Like, I don't think baby girl going to Nashville. I really don't.
She don't make the trip. We won't see her in Nashville. I live here. We probably won't see him.
My thing, what I saw, what somebody put on here, I don't know if it's true or not, but they claim at the inside story that there was already some stuff going on in the house anyway. Apparently, they got a on and off relationship. She shows up for the draft. You know, they was already
in the jersey too. In his old high school jersey too.
Yeah, she had the high school jersey on. But the thing about it, he got his head down like that. You didn't see her. She was like this. Where the camera at? Where the camera? I'm trying to get on this. She was just like that. It's like, dude, this not your time. And then I already know what happened because you see mom trying to get her, right? And then so she just sits there. And she's probably like, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. And she's like,
yeah, teach you where you learn how to do them pancake spots from.
she's like, I'm gonna show you where to get his strap. Snatched him up.
Got her up out of there.
He probably threw out the house right then and there.
Hey, but here's the thing, you know, boy, he didn't even react to it. He kind of was like,
"That's mama. What you gonna do?"
Man, mama, hey, no, mama wins that one every time.
Every time.
But you know the other moment people were talking about too. Y'all know what that moment was?
What's that?
What was the other one?
That'd be the moment where Isaiah, the kid from Clemson got drafted. Because Lord have mercy, you would thought his girlfriend got drafted the way they were talking about his girlfriend.
I might have missed that one. I might go look at.
Go. Showtime. Oh, it's already happened, I think. You know
what is this?
Come on, Derrick.
I mean, hey, baby, they took it off the internet, man. What you want me to do? I'm Googling it.
Who is this?
That's Wilson.
Becky got snatched up.
Yeah, she already.
Oh, I guess they didn't show the.
They took it off. They took it off the draft clip.
That's why they have. That's why you have YouTube, man.
You know it's out there. It's out there. It's not going anywhere.
But you know, I mean, I didn't have time to go through all them people's videos to find the done clip. You know, people got 8-9 minute clips where they talk about it.
He gonna cry in the car.
Oh my God!
You saw it, Derrick.
I mean, hey,
it's just a reasonable suggestion. Most people just go on YouTube.
We appreciate all your hard work, Derrick.
You know what? Here's the thing. Since y'all want to try, no. Who put the show together? The person who put the show together should have done clips. So don't put it on.
It ain't that deep, man.
No.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get to
because when I put a show together, I have all my links.
Let's just finish it up.
My grandmama gave me that clip.
Let's just finish it up, guys. So, guys, do y'all like the? So I'll shoot to you first, Stephen. So, did you like the virtual draft format? You know, without all the extra stuff, dudes hugging Goodell for whatever reason. Did you like the virtual draft format? Do you think so? Maybe we should just go ahead and do going forward.
Yeah. It was.
I thought it was interesting. I missed the regular interactions.
Go ahead, Steve.
I mean, I missed the interactions with Commissioner Goodell, but I felt like, the virtual, they got straight to the point. You saw a lot of the raw emotions from everybody, so I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was very personal, like you said, with that raw emotional. I think being in your home in that setting, it made that because you see them, they don't really just tear up at the draft. It's because it's all glamorous, and you got the flashing lights and everybody's suited and booted and everything. You might catch a tear or two here and there, but then they get up there and they're like, "Yeah, dog, I done made it." But you at the house with your mama, your grandmama, all that kind of stuff.
Your girlfriend.
But yeah,
one of your girlfriends.
Your baby mama.
One of them, right. And so, but you're at home, in the comfort of your home, on the couch that you about to burn or give, to Goodwill. You know what I'm saying? And you like the pops that fell on the floor. We done made it. Bye-bye, these roach-infested walls. I am gone. So they are excited. I loved it.
Okay.
I'll say the one thing I hated the most. Can I give you the one thing I hated the most?
What is it?
Man, I didn't like it. There's some of the stuff they throwing out there about these players, man. I was like, if these players signed off on it, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Nah.
But if they did and didn't throw some of that stuff like T. Higgins, why throw out there his mom been dealing with drugs?
I think for ESPN, I think from ESPN standpoint with that one, it's kind of like they be trying to make it like it's a narrative. He overcame so much, but really he didn't overcome that. That's his mama. Like they ain't got nothing to do with him in a way. It got something to do with him, but they ain't got nothing to do with him. But
I'm gonna disagree. It got something to do with him now. Like you said, that's your mama.
ESPN has been doing that for years, though. I mean, this ain't nothing new. They always do that. I mean, they didn't even have nothing up for Willie, but the two bad things that he did. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's asinine because these are some of their biggest moments in their history, and they've already discussed this in the pre-draft process. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so why not focus on the good for a change?
I'll say this. I think that's a little unfair as far as with the Willie thing. I think Willie stuff, no, maybe we don't think he's a low character guy or anything like that, but his stuff is quite fresh. Like, truth be told, this is maybe not the most fair statement at all. Some of the stuff Willie did might have contributed heavily to the coach getting fired. I mean, that's just being real. So we got to it's probably a fair statement. He doesn't punch Garrett Schrader. We still got a head coach. Mike Leach isn't our head coach right now. I mean,
hold on. Hold on. Can we attribute this to the greatness of what he did? Got y'all a better coach? Because let's be honest. Let's be honest now. Moorhead wasn't all that fire. Moorhead was not all that fire at all. So to get you a air raid sort of controversial Mike Leach, way better upgrade there.
I ain't tripping off it at all. It's just, you got to be real. Like, I don't think ESPN wrong because you got to think Willie played 5 games this year, and most of what everybody talks about, he was involved. The 2 biggest incidents in the program the last year. That's one where it's almost fair for ESPN to bring it up. Like, not a Jeffrey thing. That mess had happened 3 years previous. And that happened in high school, and he had no problem since then. And that's the one thing they bring up about him, and that's why they got roasted. But, like, some of this other stuff, I don't know. That's just part of it. That just comes with it. You think they weren't talking about all that stuff with Johnny Manziel? Like, that's his narrative. He ain't in the NFL right now for a reason. So let's go ahead and just close this out, guys. This is a Bulldog podcast. We discussed a little bit just basic NFL, but let's talk about some of the dogs, and looking forward to next year with the draft. Like, how many dogs next year you think got a chance to get drafted? You can throw names, so on and so forth. So what Bulldogs you think get drafted next year? Derrick, I'll go to you first.
Well, number one, I think Kylan Hill is going to get drafted. He has the highest ceiling of any Bulldog. He was entering the draft this year, but decided to stay in school and come back for his senior year to see what he could do in the Mike Leach offense. Up next, we have a lot of young talent on this squad. Outside of Colin, let's see who I think could possibly get drafted. Maybe Osiris, if he has a good senior year. Outside of that, we don't really have anybody that's going to, or Errol, of course, the linebacker. Everybody else, maybe I see undrafted free agents because, I just don't think we're gonna have the draft capital that we had this year. Maybe Stuart Reese, maybe Kobe Jones. These are all guys who. Excuse me.
Kobe Jones.
Maybe it depends on what the senior year he has. Yeah. All these guys just haven't made their total impact yet. So they have 1 year outside of the offensive lineman. Allen lost his position, got it back, lost it again, got it back. It just depends on what we do under Mike Leach. New system, they got to adjust to it. So we have to see what we're gonna put on the field for I can really say. outside of Kyler who really has a shot at getting drafted, because our wide receivers, even though we now have a pass type of coach, gotta see if they're gonna be able to catch the ball. And KJ Costello, of course, if he comes in and has a good year, he definitely could get drafted.
He projected to go first round, but whatever. So I guess I just jump in. Like KJ Costello, obviously he's a projected first round pick for next year. I think that's automatic, unless he gets hurt and goes all Tommy Stevens masher, but he still got drafted. So I mean, when we would say Mississippi State got 3 quarterbacks drafted in 6 or 7 years, but that'd be very rare. You talking about KJ Costello, you come on Kyle, and I think he's probably a 3rd or 4th round guy. And then you throw in Stuart Reese, he's a guy that can be a swing guard tackle. He'll probably got a good chance of getting drafted. He's been a 3-year starter so far. You're looking at Marquis Spencer potentially. I think he has to have a big senior year, though. I still hadn't really seen it from him, though, but he's made that type of impact. Arrow, of course. I mean, he's a traditional 3-4 backer. I mean, he's a true 3-4 backer. And then you throw in, I think Marcus Murphy is the name I would really watch out for, though. Marcus Murphy, he's the name I would watch out for at that free safety position. I think he's a guy, I could see him being a definitely 2nd rounder, maybe maybe not 1st round talent. He's a guy that getting drafted high with a great year if he decides to go pro early. So I think we got a chance to have 5 or 6 guys for sure. It just depends on how the year goes for the rest of them. Like I like Javonte Payton is the name I would keep an eye on at the receiver position, though. So, Steven, what are some of the guys on Mississippi State team you can see maybe getting a shot at the league next year?
Definitely E.T. I like Ero Thompson. I like Cotton Hill. I want to see KJ Costello for real, though. I want to see what KJ does. Man, I'm going to tell you this, though. C.J. Morgan. There's a guy. C.J. Morgan. I like C.J. Morgan.
I want to hear your explanation on this. Please explain this to me. Go ahead.
Explain C.J. Morgan.
Yeah, please tell me why he's going to get drafted. I know I'm a Bulldog. Please explain this to me.
Okay, I know he played in 9 games last year, but in those 9 games, he was productive with those 59 tackles. He's going to have to stay healthy, though. But, I mean, he's got an ability to make a roster either as a slot corner, maybe as an outside guy, who did his footwork just a little bit better. But he's smart. He's a little bit more instinctive than what folks give him credit for.
Corner? I mean, safety maybe, but corner?
He said slot corner.
Slot corner?
Now, hey, I've learned. I mean, I'm gonna give Steven. I'm just gonna sit back and wait on that one, because I've had other friends tell me about guys, and I'd be like, "Nah, man, I don't see it." Okay. Then they end up doing it. So I'm gonna trust Steven. Like I know you know what you're talking about. So I'm gonna wait to see on that one.
We're gonna stick an asterisk by that one right now.
We're gonna make a gentleman's bet on that one. We're gonna see. Like I don't think he's a bad, the best player, but at the same time, like we'll see. All right, so Mike, who do you think on that Bulldog roster coming from next year got a chance to get drafted? You muted?
Nobody?
He didn't say anything. He probably didn't hear you. Mike, it's on you, dude.
Mike.
Oh, okay.
You sleep.
Let's see.
It's getting late. That's why I'm trying to wrap it up.
Well, as far as the Bulldogs, I will say I'm not as familiar, but I will say that this about Mike Leach. 2 things will happen. One, a receiver will have a breakout year and get noticed. Second thing, the offense will probably score at a rapid pace or a pretty good pace that a defensive player will have inflated stats and he'll get looked at as an NFL. So that's two people right there. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you probably have 2 other players that'll probably be secondary players that have pretty good numbers, which will be inflated as well. So I'm going with 4 players from Mississippi State getting drafted next year. Just on the inflated numbers alone of the Mike.
Yeah, buddy, we got to get you back on here to talk about that while I'm taking you talking big noise, inflated numbers.
Facts. I'll let you close it out, Coach Bill.
Well, I'm just going. I'm gonna use my time. I'm just gonna say Errol Thompson and your boy Jay Short. He got a shot at getting drafted. Whether you like him or not, and whether I think he's gonna be
a draftable player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, that you said it perfectly. He's a draftable player. But I want to take this time to ask the guys. I don't know about Tennessee's roster, but I know we had a guy from Mississippi on Alabama's roster to get drafted. I just want to see if Steve can just tell us about him. What do you think about him and how he's going to make it in the league?
Well, Raekwon Davis.
Yes, sir.
I won that bet. Keep going.
It comes down to how bad does Raekwon want it, man, for real. Because I've been around him, and I remember 2017, his sophomore year, prior to the season, I think he was at bar 17 on the west side and got shot in the leg and survived that shot in the leg and went on to have a beast of a season. And then after that, the numbers kind of disappeared. Now, he still found ways to be productive, but just the big numbers were not there. They're going to end up putting him at defensive tackle because he's 6'6", 311. But it's how bad does Raekwon want it? Because when I watch him at times, and sometimes he feel like he a bad dude, and other times he take plays off. Mentally, how bad does he really want it?
I would love to say, I know I have a cousin who went to Meridian. He actually played D-tackle at Meridian. He always talked about Raekwon Davis, and I always argued that Jeffrey was better, and I would just like to publicly say I was right. So
hey, I would say this. I honestly think, and I've always said, I think he's gotten as far as he's gotten because of his size.
He got the tools for sure.
He's an athlete too, though. I mean, when he gets going, he gets going.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah,
that's true.
Is anybody up there in Tennessee from Mississippi? Do you know?
Nah, not really.
He transferred. The wide receiver. He transferred out. I can't remember his name.
Right. Y'all just don't want to win up there. Okay, I get it.
They with them more. They're looking more. They're actually going into Alabama and getting players. They actually got a player out of Alabama, a 5-star defensive end, I believe.
Okay. Isn't he one of like number one player in the country or something like that?
Nah, he wasn't number one player in the country, but he's up there. But he definitely,
They got the Brooks kid.
Don't worry.
Brooks kid.
Yeah.
From Alabama, I believe.
Well, we had one to verbally commit to Tennessee, but he ended up going to Memphis. One of my old players. So he's over there shining at Memphis as a true freshman this past season. I was very proud of my man Jaleel Clemens. Shout out Starkville in the building.
What? Oh, Starkville player doing something in college? Oh, I'm gonna stop. But I'm gonna stop.
Kid, if they come through Zoom on you.
Hello, Tennessee Titans. Y'all have a receiver over there?
What's that?
AJ Brown. Okay.
So that's two players out of 20, 30 years. Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to get over to the facility to check them out, though. It was nice, though. I'm trying to get over to the facility this off season when they are able to get to.
I would say, what facility you get to?
Looks like a linebacker, dude.
I've seen him live, so trust me, I know. Definitely looks like
Hey, I'm gonna say this for Jay Short and AJ. If your school ain't did nothing, don't come with all that all that yang talking stuff.
You forget that our first round draft pick got hurt. So whatever. so
what school you went to? What high school?
I went to Caledonia High School.
Caledonia High School.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Hey, just to let y'all know, there's a couple guys from my high school that actually are in the NFL right now. Actually, I didn't play with them, but Derrick Barnett, first-round draft pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jalen Ramsey went to my high school too.
Seriously, Jalen Ramsey? Oh, that's what's up. I didn't know he was from Tennessee. I thought he was from like Florida or something.
Nah, he's from Nashville.
He seems like such a Florida guy.
My high school, Callaway has two. Breland Speaks for my Chiefs. And Thomas Champion just got signed by the Seahawks.
Mr. Hurt, Nick Fitzgerald. Okay. I actually interviewed him once, but
some more if you want me to tell, but I'm gonna stop.
Hey, I had fun, guys.
Yeah, man, this was fun. Like, it was a little longer, but I think it was fun just talking football, man.
I kind of do it again.
Yeah, I get kind of enthused. I told y'all guys it would work.
Hey, I told him you want to roast me, so I come on and graciously.
Oh yeah, you got to come back. We got to talk about that game. Got to talk about that game.
I'll be ready.
It's talking football for a good hour and a half. I love doing that. I mean, what else is better to do during the quarantine? All right, so I'm just gonna say a simple side. I just want to thank all the guys for coming on. Just for the sake of time, we don't need to do all the pleasantries at the end. I just want to thank Steven, Mike, Coach Ville, Derrick for being on here tonight. I mean, it was a great fun talk. Hope the fans enjoy it when they watch it. It is kind of long, so you probably have to break it into pieces. But, you know, just being able to talk about the Bulldogs, the SEC, and everything that just, I guess, goes with the NFL draft from Mississippi State. Just want to thank y'all for joining us tonight. And then AJ would say, K-bye.
Go Chiefs. Go Chiefs.